Hello, thank you for coming. Let me share my screen now. Going to share. Now we're going to start right now. Okay. So I decided to prepare this webinar during my vacation in France. I thought that the thing that people told me the most that they were really worried about was using their public speaking skills, and also that they couldn't feel confidence, and that they felt a lot of fear, but it was a requirement for their jobs. So I decided to prepare this for you. I hope you like it. Thank you for coming, and thank you for those who will be watching the recorded video. I will ask you to be respectful if you want to use the chat. Also, after the video has been uploaded, I will ask you to be respectful when you write a comment. We really like all the constructive comments and, of course, the thank you notes. So you can use the chat box. You can use the comments after. You can use the direct line on WhatsApp. But all the questions that I got this week and during this video conference is going to be answered. They are going to be answered after the presentation for the Q&A session. Um, if you want to receive this PowerPoint, you can do that. Just drop me a message and I can send it to your email directly, and we can have a conversation about this if you have any fears to talk about in private. So you will see the content when you get it, which is this checklist is all the points that we're going to discuss today. And this is just, just an overview of myself. So, what I've been doing this past 20 years, 22 years, um, when I was teaching, when I was translating, when I was in contact with all these different companies, I was coaching executives. I wasn't really conscious of what I was doing, but I was not only a teacher, I was also teaching them how to stand, how to speak, and a lot of strategies that I was giving them were related to my studies. I studied drama, I studied teaching, I studied translating, and all that together is this webinar today. So I will try to give you all these strategies, and I hope that if you can get one or two things that can change the way that you are doing things now, I'm going to feel really amazed, especially if you send me a message about this. So even if you're navigating the nuances of pronunciation or trying to overcome the fear of not speaking, this is going to be useful because we're going to discuss all the things you need in one same webinar. So let's go and start with number one. So I made a list of the common fears that I see my students when they are presenting in English. So you can see if you feel that this challenge that brings all your fears, that you find them like something that you can feel connected with, that can resonate with you. So these are the four that I find that you may feel. The first one, fear of making lots of mistakes. It's the most common, maybe. So you have this fear that you're going to speak worse or something like that. That's I hear all the time, this thing. I want to give you an idea where you can admit your level. So you can start your presentation with a smile on your face. I have a colleague in Tarragona. Her name is Cecilia, and she had to present overnight. She was told she had to present, and she started her presentation saying something like, "My level is not good at all, but I will try my best to deliver my speech." And she started this conversation really well, and she was uh, really trying to give her presentation and starting off with the right foot. I'm sorry that you can see that task bar, but I really don't know how to remove it now. So my manager is telling me that that is happening. Um, I will try to fix it now. Just 1 second. Okay, I will stop the share for 1 second and I will try to remove it now. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, I will hide it. Yes, I will hide it. I think now it's not going to happen. Let me check. Okay. Yeah, I think now I can share again and you can see the entire screen, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, my manager will tell me if everything looks good. Looks good. Okay, perfect. Thank you for waiting. So, the fear of making lots of mistakes, you can fix it by telling your audience the first time that your level of production is not the best. And you can say that sort of joke or smile on your face. Then the second one that I noticed is the fear of not being understood. And this is something that is not going to be a joke, but really, do you understand 100% of what your sister, brother, mother, father tell you? Or your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend? I mean, even the people that live with us may not understand 100% of what they say. So, what you want to focus here on is your perfection, the perfection that you are looking for. With this fear is not based on reality because we never understand what people say at 100% level. So, you want to leave this aside. If you can understand 85% of what your mother tells you, then expect your audience to understand 85% of what you say, not 100, which is normal, which is good. So relax. That's my point. Then I wrote the lack of confidence in pronunciation. This is like a big topic. I mean, it's just that most students at any level, they think that their pronunciation is always better than it is. Unfortunately, it's not the case. It's usually fixing those things, those nuances. This is easily fixed with a course, with a pronunciation course. So we can talk about this later. But the lack of confidence in pronunciation is fixed with not studying, not memorizing, but living and reliving certain situations. So you will polish and brush up your pronunciation, whatever it is that you need. It may be 2 sounds or 10 sounds. It may be your rhythm, your intonation. This is an accent reduction course, and in 2 weeks, between 2 and 6 weeks, depending on the cases and the frequency of the lessons, you can fix this very easily. And pronunciation is not offered around the world. It's usually the written English that is offered. So courses take too long, usually with the traditional methods, and pronunciation is left aside. That shouldn't be the case for you in particular. Then the anxiety about public speaking is like nervousness that actors feel before going on stage, which is normal. But this anxiety, the way that it disappears is by doing it. So the way to do public speaking is to do public speaking. It's like maybe you heard this phrase: if you want to learn how to drive, you have to drive. Like if you want to learn how to do public speaking, you need to start doing public speaking. So start saying yes more than no, and that anxiety will eventually go away. So if you know anything about actors, I also studied drama 9 years. It's like you have a lot of techniques that you will learn during the lessons for public speaking. And those techniques are related to the previous moments of your public speaking, and it's about working your voice, your body language, and making your body available to deliver a nice speech. You need to make your body available, but or also your voice. I was working my voice before starting this. And before I record every video, I try to work my voice. It may not be the best, but it would be worse if I didn't do it. So there are a lot of strategies you can do for anxiety. And I want to ask you, and you can write either in the chat if you have a channel, or you can also write after the video is uploaded. You can drop me a comment which of the fears that I mentioned resonates the most with you. Fear of making mistakes, of not being understood, the anxiety or nervousness, or the lack of confidence in pronunciation. So, which of these resonates with you the most? You can send me a message, also private message, if you are too shy. And I want to give you an exercise. So, imagine that somebody is giving an important presentation right now and they mispronounce a key word. For example, a lot of people mispronounce performance or job or budget, uh, or they say vacations or vacation, or any word that they mispronounce. How do you feel about that? Do you feel shame, or do you feel like you can connect with them because you're not so perfect? So just drop me a line if you feel anything with that phrase. Number two is confidence over perfection. This is very important. We need to talk about perfection. Um, Also, parentheses, if your English level is not too high for understanding this, you can go to your YouTube settings after the video is finished and you can press the speed button and you can set the speed to be slower. So you will hear my voice speaking like this. So you just click on speed after the video is uploaded in a few, maybe in 20, 25 minutes when we finish. And you can set the speed and also the subtitles. Because I know that some people will watch this and they are in Rome or in other parts of the world. And like in the USA too, we have some people from other countries watching this, especially Spanish speakers and Latinos. So please do those two things if you need it. So confidence over perfection is related to how perfectionist you can be. And is that good? Is it taking you too far? Is it allowing you to open doors? Or this kind of fear of confidence over perfection will make you close doors? So you have to learn why confidence matters more than perfection. Think about your English teacher, your French teacher, any teacher that you had. You learned from this person, but she also or he also learned from you. It's a two-way street. So you will be presenting, you will be teaching something, you will be passing on information, but the other person, the audience, is going to be also teaching you things. Maybe how quiet they are, maybe the level of concentration they have, maybe something you don't want for your own self. This two-way street. So they are not perfect, you are not perfect. And if you look at any public speaker, like any professor or lecturer, you will see there's no perfection over there. You can look at natives, they are imperfect. Like in our mother tongue, we really use, just a second. My manager is, okay. And if you think about, for example, any native speaker, like we use our mother tongue, you will see that we are not perfect. We use a lot of things that Real Academia Española or any other Cambridge Institute or whatever. It's not allowed, and something like breaking grammar rules all the time. So, with that level of imperfection, you can think of yourself as a native speaker who is imperfect, and do the same with your second or third language. Um, I want to say that teachers are not walking dictionaries. This is a story about my own teaching. Some students believe that we are perfect, and maybe we are discussing something about dentistry or geography or anything that comes up in conversation, and they think that we just know everything, and we have to be explaining that we don't know everything. We have other colleagues to ask about any specifics. We have to go and read a book, maybe to answer some of the questions that students have. So we are not perfect at all. We are not walking dictionaries. We don't know everything. So try to think of perfection as a non existent thing. Um, you will feel closer to imperfect people. That's why I asked you before, how do you feel when someone makes a mistake during a presentation? When even your teacher, your professor at university makes a mistake, it's something like you feel closer. It's generally like you feel closer. Um, the same, for example, if you show yourself as perfect, then you sound petulant. And this can intimidate people. Yes? Mistakes are crucial for growth. You really have to think about mistakes as something that you need to make at first. Okay? So take a look at why perfectionism can backfire. I will give you a minute. Okay, so you were looking at these five things and you were thinking, oh, so if I'm perfect and I show myself as perfect, then the audience will become afraid to participate. Do I want that? Or do I want my audience to become involved? I want them to become involved, definitely. And there's also the lack of authenticity that builds no rapport. Rapport is like the connection that you build with a person or people in front of you. So you want to show yourself as authentic, and this means imperfect, okay? And you're showing that your mistakes are not acceptable. So you want to show that it's okay to make mistakes so people can ask you questions after and can even tell you that was very good and give you some support. So, two things that you need to learn. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect, confidence comes from embracing imperfection, from opening the door to imperfection as something normal. Um, and I have a question for you for the comment section. Have you ever seen a confident presenter who was not perfect, but you still believed their message? You still thought, um, he's authentic. I believe him. It can happen when you're watching a TED Talk or maybe a recording or a video on YouTube. These people, we are not perfect. I'm actually checking some messages to see that you see everything all right. And that is part of my imperfection when I'm delivering this speech. So you'll see that all the time. And I guess you'll feel closer to me if I show myself as authentic. Number three is, like I said, your accent goes first, and this is the power of pronunciation. This is very important. I've been teaching this forever. This is the most common barrier: intonation, stress patterns, clarity. All this is pronunciation. It's not only learning the consonants, the vowels, it's everything else surrounding how people talk. It's connected speech, how how those sentences are connected, that we don't talk like this with silences in between words. We talk like very fast and we speak like that in any language that we want to speak. So you want to work your intonation, but also you want to work on connecting your speech so that you sound very similar to native speaker. And you may say, but teacher, grammar goes first, because you learned that phrase from before. It rings a bell. You think that grammar goes first, but seriously, 2024, as we are recording this video on an 11th of October, you will see grammar doesn't go first. Pronunciation comes first. Why? Because speaking is like 90% of our lives nowadays. Speaking is closing deals with your, maybe your clients, your students, workers, reaching agreements. And you're not going to use a perfect grammar for that. You're going to use a nice pronunciation that can be clear. Now, grammar is important, but maybe second or third place. I remember in Buenos Aires when um, maybe an American person, especially when they visited Buenos Aires and they were speaking Spanish, and their grammar was so perfect, but their sounds were like this. Porque yo quiero comprar un libro de matemáticas y yo necesito hacerlo ahora. So, can I understand that person? That grammar is perfect, okay? All the grammar was great, but pronunciation was so American that people had a hard time understanding that. So, think about that and see where you are standing right now with your accent, with your grammar, with your accent, and where they are. Also, we have to talk about ego. If I say, oh, my accent is the best, I'm not going to listen to my teacher saying, you have to pronounce the sound better. You have to focus on that sound this week because it's really not clear. Because you're going to think, no, she's nuts. That's not the case. That's not me. She's talking about somebody else. It's not me. So I want to tell you, your accent can be very good, but you can always improve. So just listen to those people um, who are humble enough to tell you the truth and are realistic enough. Yeah, so leave aside your ego. For number 4, I will talk about why the traditional 4 skills approach falls short. That means that studying the 4 skills, like in the past, like 10 or 20 years ago, is like detrimental for you. So we are going to talk about the English skills that we may never use. So there were 4 skills for a traditional lesson, and maybe during 1 hour lesson or 1 hour and a half hour, 1 hour and a half during that lesson, you were going to maybe have 20 minutes of writing, 15 minutes of reading, then maybe 20 minutes of listening, and then some speaking. What happened to that brain? That brain was focusing on 4 things at the same time. Is this right or is this wrong? You want to think about whether this is right or wrong, and how much time and effort consuming is it? You need to think about the 4 skills as something that was really necessary in the past because we were using more letters and emails, and we were writing more books and presentations that were more written, presentations were more like journals. But now most of the things appear on a video or audio recording, audiobooks, video conferences. So you want to think about focusing on the vital skills that you need today. This is my recommendation. So think about what you need with your English and just focus on those skills first. The other skills are going to come. They're going to come to you like babies do, they are going to come like eventually, like a secondary thing that happens to you, but not the focus of the whole lesson that you're paying for also. So I would add here, I forgot, it's also consuming your pocket, your money. Language in constant and frequent use. This is a very important point. Not only do I want you to focus on the skills that you need, but also on the vocabulary and things that you need. For example, most high schools in Argentina are teaching regular verbs, like a list of 150 verbs, for example. Do you need those 150 verbs? Or do you need just maybe 10 or 20 for the frequent and constant use? And then that the others come as a secondary thing that you can get as a sponge, like a baby. I would say you don't need a long list of verbs and nouns if you are working for example, if you're a businessman, businesswoman. You need to use a language that is constant and frequent. Then the concept of anchored knowledge is that if you can reduce that list of vocabulary that you need and you focus only on that list with a minimalist approach and you focus on how to say those words, not write. So your writing is not perfect, but you can say those words. Then, because you're going to use them so much, this knowledge will be anchored and you will never forget it. It will be learned forever, as we call the learned phrases that stay forever with you. And so, write in the comments section, you've probably spent years learning English skills that you rarely use, that you don't use, it means professional settings. Do you really need to write essays, for example, for your work? Do you really need to write emails? Do you really need to read long articles? Just drop me a line about that. And do you think that focusing on speaking first would accelerate your English learning? Do you think that we are right or wrong with that? Our number 5 is a shift, a change towards oratory and speaking skills. So you want to get all these ideas that the 4 skills are not necessary for you today because your boss asked you to do some public speaking for next week. So you need to start going minimalist. So this is a real world need. You need strong oratory skills, and they are the key to professional success. So for that shift, what are these benefits? It leads to immediate professional benefits, okay? It's going to be something positive for you. And when you use this minimalist approach, you will see that it will raise your self esteem right away. So you will want to come back to class every time because you have an hour of lesson. Then you feel like you can speak already in about 2 weeks. You start learning your pronunciation and you can speak. So it raises your self esteem right away, and you create an incentive for that person to come back to English and not hate it. After the first time that you give your presentation, you can only get better. And this is my piece of advice. The first time I recorded a video or went on stage, I was not the best. But then the adrenaline made it get better every time. And I would say that's what I see when my students train, when I coach them, and they can really go for the first time and then they can go again with a feeling that they can do this, that they got this. And this ability is not only useful for business, it's useful for every aspect of your life. So if you can do public speaking, oh, hi, somebody's reading. Hi, Sanner. This ability is going to be useful for you not only when you are delivering your speech, but also imagine that you have a business trip. What happens during a business trip? You're going to see that you have to greet people, you have to be nice, You have to be engaging. You shouldn't feel overwhelmed. You also have to have your body available um, to maybe close a deal with this person because they are clients. Or some of my students have to close deals with shareholders. So think about these four, and I will leave a question for you to read. Thank you, Rocio, for your message. Do you think that you've spent enough time practicing real world speaking in English? You will tell me in the comments or chat or the comment section after. We're moving on to number 6. You can see the picture, and it's like the future leader. I felt it like that when I chose it. So, why you should master oratory in English? You're going to be the future leader in a way. You can be the future manager, but you're going to be someone that is perceived as credible, as competent. You will be more persuasive when closing deals, more persuasive if you are a salesman, a sales girl. And you're going to have career advancement. You are going to have some leadership presence and gain the respect of your peers, which is very important. You're working for a company and you feel like you're just a number, and now you're going to gain the respect of others. Don't forget, if you are, if your level, if you're not confident with your level to hear me, you can set, after we finish this recording, you can set a speed so that you can hear me, slower, at a different pace, with subtitles, etc. So don't worry if you cannot understand 100%. That is something that we have been discussing. So I want to see if you agree. Those who speak confidently in English are more likely to be seen as leaders, trusted with more responsibilities, and promoted faster. What is the meaning to promote faster? So you are just an employee, and when you are promoted, you go higher on the ladder of success. You become a manager, for example. So if you agree, just drop me a line. Now, we're going to some numbers. So check this number here. 69% of managers, just a second. 69% of managers agreed that effective communication skills are the most important trait. Trait is like a characteristic, like a human characteristic or feature. So they think that 69% of managers agreed that this is the most important trait for leadership success. So if you want to become a leader, you have to think about this. So confident speakers are often perceived as more competent, more influential, and this boosts, rockets their chances of being seen as leaders. So this is important to think about whether you want to become a leader or not. I think it's always talking about success. It's going to be um, something you can try and see if you like, okay? At least once. 85% of job success comes from well-developed soft skills, including communication and leadership, while only 15% comes from technical skills. You have the soft skills that you need to be humane, yes, and you have the technical skills when you know how to use Excel. You are a pro using, I don't know, illumination, how to use a microphone, how to start maybe a video call. You're a pro, but that's only 15%. Those soft skills, including communication and leadership, are the 85% that you need. So those who communicate confidently are more trusted by their peers and supervisors, which often leads to being given more responsibilities, be promoted. And this is by Forbes. And the last one, did you know that employees with strong communication abilities were 3.5 times more likely to be promoted within a 5-year period? That is not really long. 5 years is good compared to those who lack these skills. This is a survey by LinkedIn. So this is just a question for you to think about. I like to ask you questions because I want you to, start this kind of conversation with someone. It can be with me or with anyone. How do you think um, improved speaking skills could change your professional opportunities? How? In what ways? You can give me ideas with this. And number seven is, okay, I want to take my oratory skills to the next level, teacher. What can I do? So, how can I master my skills faster? How can I move on with this and take my pronunciation accent to the next level? You can have a personalized accent reduction test. That is a very short thing that you can do. It's not something expensive. You can do that. You can start mastering English pronunciation course, building confidence in presentations with some workshops or webinars like this. You can start lessons that are based on TED Talks. And you can start courses if you work with other countries that are very different from yours. You can focus your English lessons on those countries and those cultural nuances in communicating with those clients. So you can just focus on those, on the etiquette. And real life speaking practice is something that you need at least once a week, twice a week. You need to start a conversation in English with someone. And if you get feedback, that would be nice. So, which of these areas that I mentioned do you feel would most benefit you? What do you think you need? Like more accent reduction or more confidence because you're too shy? Do you need to focus on looking at other speakers talk? What do you think you need? So, for example, suppose you take a course that is called Personalized Accent Reduction Test, and it's a very short thing. What is the method? We analyze your recorded speech as a sample to identify specific pronunciation challenges, and then you receive detailed feedback. All the details related to your own voice and recorded speech. So you will find all the things that you need to improve. So, how do you do this? You just submit, like send a voice recording, and you will receive this detailed analysis of the pronunciation issues. It can be anything within consonant, vowels, connected speech, etc. And you will have clear guidance on how to improve. This is very good. We do it a lot. Then you can take a course that is accent reduction course, and it focuses on correcting common pronunciation challenges. So they will help you reduce your accent. So you have a mother tongue, can be Spanish mostly, or most of my clients are Spanish speakers. So I would say you have Spanish as a mother tongue, and it appears in your English a lot. So you will just clean or brush up, as we say, those sounds, and it's really great to see. In 2 weeks, you start seeing results. It's really great. So you will learn the subtleties of English pronunciation. So the vowel sounds, the stress patterns, intonation. Intonation changes. Let's see. Um, let's go and have some fun. We don't say that, okay? So a lot of people in Spanish say that, and it sounds really, really not very professional. So you will fix those things so you can speak with more clarity, more confidence. Okay, just checking your messages. Yes, just checking your messages. Okay, and don't forget to check after we record this video. You will see it uploaded. You can watch it again, slow motion kind of thing. Another course called Building Confidence in Presentations. It uses we use all these techniques that have been proven, including TED Talks, TEDx, and all the different speakers. But especially, you're going to overcome your fear and anxiety because you're going to see how confident the speakers are in a given scenario. Yes, you will master strategies to speak naturally, to convince, to sound natural. That's very important. So you will see different situations And we include here a very important moment, that is when you are presenting, maybe the second, third time that you present, and maybe you're closing a deal for high stakes presentations. Are like, imagine all the shareholders and you're closing a deal where they have to give you billions of dollars for a project. So those kinds of things require a certain level of, you have to master the English in certain different levels. So we'll give you all that, all those tools. We have a masterclass. There is a short-term masterclass. It's a TED Talk masterclass. So this course covers everything from how to write a TED Talk, a 20-minute TED Talk, or 60 minutes sometimes TED Talk. How to write. All this is called storytelling. It's a way that you write something engaging. How to use your body effectively, because the body language will also get people engaged, and so you will be able to captivate your audience and to deliver a memorable speech, which is something that people will remember. They will remember your name. They will remember the way you said things and two or three things that you said. So you're changing their lives. And you will learn the secrets of engaging and inspiring audiences. So we will see some parallelism with TED speakers. And this is one of my favorite courses. I love teaching this. So a lot of my students work with certain countries that are very different from their own country. So, for example, a Spanish student who works with Egyptians. Okay, you need to understand how to use English in that particular country. So you will learn how to navigate cultural differences in communication so you can speak confidently in diverse settings. And comprehending cultural nuances, that is to say, subtleties like tiny things of that language that can offend people. Yes. So that can lead to more productive talks, to better negotiations. So that's what you want. Then we have the real life speaking practice or conversation classes, as you want to call it. These engage in guided speaking exercises based on real world scenarios. So you will have like real settings, okay? So we'll say, okay, you're on a bus, talking to a stranger, talking to the driver, checking in at the airport, hotel, restaurant, different scenarios that you need for your business, but you will recreate these even in professional environments. You will recreate these so many times that when this happens for real, you're going to see how confident you feel because you already lived or relived the situation here with us. And this is designed to help you speak more fluently, but also with a focus on building your vocabulary. So you will expand your vocabulary about airports, restaurants, whatever you need for your business. And to talk to native speakers, of course. We have a course on advanced presentation techniques, and this is not only related to techniques used by successful speakers from the TED Talks, but also from around the globe. So you will see that this is tailored to professional settings, but from around the globe. It's more global thing. And finally, we have a workshop that is interactive English speaking workshop. This is very interesting because here you're going to be able to actually practice your presentation with other students who are undergoing the same thing as you. They have to present and they don't know who they can practice with. So we get together once a week, we have a group. It usually changes, and we participate in live sessions where you can practice your public speaking and you can get real time feedback, and you will be doing the actual speaking live. This is the best practice to give your presentation for the first time, so that the actual first time that you give it in front of the real people is not going to be your first time. That's the idea. I will give you this question. So, what is stopping you from mastering your English speaking skills, abilities today? Our number eight are practical tips for speaking naturally. These are baby steps, so I'm going to teach you a few of them. You can practice with native material. What is native material, teacher? Well, it can be a podcast, it can be a YouTube channel. You can use our YouTube channel. I prepare a lot of different lessons that are recorded for you, where you can practice your pronunciation with me. You can watch some TED Talks. TEDx is independently created. Also, your lessons with your teachers. You can go to big capitals and talk to strangers on the street if you want. You can even call some 1-800 number, I don't know, just for fun. But talk to strangers, talk to natives, talk to your teachers, try to practice. You can watch a playlist that I created when I went to Ireland for 5 weeks. I created a lot of shorts. So you can come with me to Ireland and have a local immersion, but for free. So you can also try to find that playlist. It's called Total English Immersion Ireland, and you can subscribe to the channel, and then you will find it very, very, very easily. We really appreciate if you subscribe, because we actually have, I think that only 10% of the people who watch our videos have subscribed. They don't know how important it is for the creator to have more subscribers. And try to travel 4 days, 5 days, however you can. Try to travel to capital cities, try to talk to people. You can record yourself so you can identify those areas of improvement. We talked about ego. If you record yourself, you will be able to identify those areas, and you really need to. The first step is to face the problem, to fix it, okay? And you can have all the support from us when you are doing this. We know that it's difficult. Try to slow down the first times. Although I'm speaking at a normal rhythm now, the first times, if you watch my first videos, they are not the best. And I was slowing down more. Then I got more confident. When I was giving a public presentation, I can speak faster. But at first, the recommendation is that you can slow down, because you will focus on other things. And you can use pauses effectively to sound more natural. With pauses, you can create suspense. People can become more curious. So, my tip is, the next time that you're practicing, record yourself and try to focus on slowing down. Just the first times, okay? Then you will find your rhythm. Um, and you will be surprised at how much clearer you sound. Um, It's just a number for you to be conscious of this. A regular interaction with native speakers has led to a 35% increase in confidence when speaking English, particularly in professional and academic contexts. This is necessary. Start doing it today. Have a regular interaction. It's for free now. In the past, you had to pay for everything. Um, so I would like to know in the comment section, what is one change that you can make today? Today means October 11th, today, to sound more natural when you are speaking English. One thing. Try to identify one thing. If you can't, just record yourself after. And number 9 is the Q&A sessions that come after your presentation. This is something that you cannot avoid. I'm sorry. You cannot avoid the Q&A. Sometimes my students say that maybe 2 or 3% of my students say I didn't have any Q&As. That's because they had to hurry or go or leave or end the presentation. But the Q&A session is something that will happen. So you have to get ready for that. You will not have the answers at first because you will be nervous, which is normal. So I will give you 2 sentences that I wrote so that you can study and use when you get to the Q&A session, and somebody's asking you a question you don't know. So you want to um, buy some time. And so, when asked a difficult question, my tip is to repeat the question back to the audience. So, you are repeating the question. So, you are giving yourself a few extra seconds to think about an answer. And if you cannot find the answer, just say one of those two questions that you have here. That's a great question. Let me verify the specifics and I'll get back to you later on with the exact details. You can change it however you want. The other one says, that's an interesting point. I'll need to review our data and provide you with a precise answer. So if you have this kind of question that you can use, then you're not going to die trying. Yes, you're going to feel good. So if you can share some other strategies that you have used to handle difficult questions in English, you can write in the chat or especially in the comments, so that people know what your ideas are, what you did, and what was the outcome. What did you generate, or what was the reaction? Yeah. And just to recap, this is just a review, so it's going to be very short, and I will let you go. Don't forget that confidence is more important than perfection. Always show yourself imperfect and you will feel so good, so connected with other people. You will have lots of friends and you will see that you will be respected more. And pronunciation can transform how the message is received. And don't forget you can become more confident as well. If you focus on speaking and oratory, you will have faster results, which is very important. And the practical tips for sounding more natural in presentations, you can use all of them. You can take advantage of our special discount for these webinar participants, which is a 15% off. And this happens with every webinar that we deliver. We give you guys 15% off and you can enroll until November 11th to use the 15% off. And that was all. Thank you for joining. You have our email on screen and I will try to answer all questions that you have now. Let's go to the Q&A. But just so you know, as we have an academy called Academy Inglés Neo in Spain, and we have an academy called Cinnamon English School in Argentina. So we have two academies, and we would really like to be close to you guys. That's why this webinar is free, and I hope that you could enjoy it. So thank you so much, and I will now go ahead and stop. Just a second. I will try to stop. Press sharing. Okay, now you can see my face. So I'm going to see. Okay, so we have some people connected. Thank you so much for connecting to this webinar. I think I need more practice, Stunner. Okay, but of course, the practice is very important. I don't know how many lessons you have every week. It's usually 2 lessons for workers, 3 if you're a student, so you have more time. But that is the frequency that is normally required for the practice, unless you are living in, I don't know, Ireland or some other English-speaking country where you have, all your practice around the corner, which is the case if you can travel more, of course. And I want to see those abilities could boost the results when we have an interview and we need to impress. Yeah, when you have an interview, so public speaking is very important when you do have an interview and you're going to use the skills for public speaking when you got an interview. It has already happened, as I see, and you need to present yourself as confident but imperfect. So you're still that imperfect human being. You don't want to show yourself as a person who is not authentic, because what you want to show during those situations when you are in front of the HR representative, you want to show yourself as authentic. So you're going to use all these things or these skills during an interview too. And so it's starting, she's going to have interviews, she's very young. So you're going to have to see yourself as a leader sooner or later, I think. And so also says, I'm improving, but I usually struggle when I get nervous. Yes, which happens to me in Spanish too. Yeah, I know. I used to be there. Um, I okay. It's because my pronunciation, my confidence. Okay, so if you work on your pronunciation, I would say that will raise your confidence right away. Maybe 2 weeks with an intensive course on your pronunciation, testing your sounds, testing your fluency will really boost your confidence and you will feel like totally different. Okay, Emilia says good morning. And we have, okay, the 4 hours a week. I think that that is your lessons, right? So 4 hours a week. You have 4 hours a week. That's good. Okay. Yeah, maybe you need that. Exactly. So I have a few questions here that I uh, got, and I want to show you those questions. Okay, just a second. Just a second. Yeah, some people could not write because if you don't have a YouTube channel, I think you cannot write. But I hope that you can write in the comments section. And I would also like you to comment on your social media so that people can get to know what we are doing. It's really something that I will appreciate if you can tell everyone about our webinars or courses, especially my students. We can tell about the methods and where we are heading. We really want people to start using their English more and start using their English for real things. Okay. Um, okay, you are welcome. I'm going to read a few questions that I have here. So, someone told me that they are very shy. Where is the question? Okay. Yeah. Can I really improve my confidence in speaking English even if I am a shy person? You know, shy person is, I used to be shy, so I understand it. A shy person, yes, you can absolutely improve your confidence if you are shy. It's just that confidence builds over time after you practice and practice and practice. So I would say that if you focus on communicating your message, yes, not on perfection, you will be okay, even if you are shy. We have a lot of shy students, and we use a lot of techniques related to drama, like dialogues, for example, and real situations, so that the person can really practice, live and relive the situations right here. So, yes, you can absolutely do that. Um, and how long does it take to improve my pronunciation? Somebody says here. Your pronunciation will be improved. I would say it varies depending on the person's level, but I would say the regular practice, like 3 times a week, so you can say 2 weeks, you will see some changes, especially those sounds that were really, really bad, so that you see that people could not understand some words that you said. And then 6 to 8 weeks to complete a course with consonants and vowels, I would say. Then I have another one that says, is it possible to reduce my accent completely? Okay, let's say, depending on the country, depending on the country, you will perceive that some sounds will never leave you, but because completely eliminating your accent is going to be difficult for some people. It depends on how much you hear, actually. So it's related to your hearing, let's say, skills. But if you have a good hearing skill, Then you can produce the sounds. You will need time, but this is possible. The goal is more clarity than perfection. We don't want perfect people walking around. We want people to be clear. Yes. Thank you, Rocio. She will tag me on Instagram. And okay, yeah, you may forget things, and it's annoying when you forget because you don't practice, but practice will bring back whatever you knew. All the things that you studied, so they are here. You just have to brush up your content and it will come back. It's never gone, it's never completely gone. And the last question I have here: how do I maintain fluency after finishing a course? So we mentioned the podcasts, we mentioned the native speakers, the bilingual speakers, we mentioned watching English media, engaging in conversation with other speakers, always natives who can give you feedback. Try to ask for feedback. You have a friend from, I don't know, USA, ask them to give you feedback. Don't be shy. Ask them for that. You need feedback. You cannot just talk to someone and wait for magic to happen. You need to ask for feedback. And you need to challenge yourself with material that is not completely new, not 100% new words, but 80% of words I know, 20% of words I don't. You need to have some understanding. Yes. Play with the speed when you watch YouTube. Play with the speed. It's great. You will see how much it changes your understanding. So, a video that you can watch 0.75 speed, then 1, then 1.5. It's great that you can change those things. Okay, thank you guys for coming. I'm over the hour now. I will let you go. Thank you for being there, and I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did. And I will see you again. I think my next webinar may be next week, so I will invite you. Thank you, everyone. Sending lots of hugs to you and fight for what you want. Thank you, guys.